Okay, this is an email I just got today morning about the translation. So one of the companies in US, they are contacting me and they are asking whether I'm free to do translation uh, for them. So the message said, your linguist, nice to meet you. This is Samir, blah, 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 from OK, from UTrans. We are currently, or we are hiring for a project, human translation, Arabic to English, MTPE, Arabic to English. Could you please confirm your availability for participation? Kindly find the below link for the project initial info to apply. Okay, if we click here, it will take us to uh, a form that we need to fill the required information in order to apply for this job. And later on, they will decide whether they take you or not, based on the quotation, based on the rate you submit to them, per word, per page, and all these things. So the most important now, what we can see here in the email, he's requiring me, or he's recruiting people to do human translation from this language to this language, Arabic to English, Chinese to English, Malay to English, whatever languages. They are offering several languages. Okay, but they want human translation. Okay. Number two, they want also some people to do MTPE, which is, as we just mentioned, MTPE, it's machine translation post editing. Machine translation post editing from English to Arabic. Okay, the most important uh, part in this email, we have to understand that what's the difference between human translation and machine translation. So in such email, they are requiring you to do human translation and MTBE, meaning that the human translation, it has totally different rate or totally different quotation compared to MTBE, because MTBE is quite easier in terms of editing and proofreading and revision, providing revision or revising the text. This is what you need to do. For MTPE, the text, it has already been translated by the machine, meaning that the company will provide you like 5,000 or 50 or half or let's say 500,000, 500,000 word in English or in Arabic, and they will ask you to proofread and edit this translation. If there is any mistakes, any grammatical mistakes, any typo, any formatting issue you need to edit, you need to fix it. Of course, the text, it has already been translated by the machine. The machine has translated the text for them. They have their own database for translation. They may not use Google Translation because they have a kind of a merge website. They have a cloud website that include reverse translation website, that include DeepL translation website, include Google Translate website, include several translation machines. They are merging them all together in one platform. And this platform is not available for individual. It's available for agencies. And it's available also by subscription, so it's not free. You have to subscribe monthly or annually. After you subscribe as an agency of translation, you can upload whatever document you have. Whatever document you have, you can upload it. In less than 24 hours, the document will be translated. Sometime less than 1 hour, even less than 1 hour, less than 60 minutes. All the files will be translated for you in whatever language you want. You can decide the language. You want to translate from English to Arabic, English to Malay, English to Chinese, whatever the language available on the website, you can choose and you can translate. Okay, by one click, it will translate everything in less than 60 minutes. Then, as an agency, what you need to do, you take this translation, and now you have the translation, but the translation is not accurate 100%. It's maybe around like 75, 80% sometimes, more or less. What you need to do, as an agency, what you need to do, you need to find a team of editor or proofreader, editors or proofreader. Then you give them this translation and ask them to proofread and edit the translation. So they will edit, proofread the text, and send it back for you in less than 1 week. Of course, the volume of the text you want them to edit or proofread could be around like 500,000, which means 500,000 word. 500,000 word. They need to edit and proofread in less than a week. Yes, they can do it. If there are 5 or 10 members in one team, let's say you recruit one team of editors or proofreaders, they can finish 500,000 words in 1 week. In 1 week, they can finish for proofreading or editing, because it's quite easy for editor and the proofreader just to go through the file, proofread and edit. Of course, not every page needs editing or proofreading. Some pages, the whole page doesn't need anything. It's exactly the translation is perfect. But some other pages, which include some jargon, some terms, some cultural elements, yes, it needs some editing, proofreading. So you can finish the team of reviewers, the reviewers, proofreaders, they can finish 500,000 word in less than a week. Then you can submit the file after translated, after it checked, proofread, you can submit it to the client, and you can get your cash. Imagine in less than a week. Okay, this is the story for MTPE, which is machine translation post editing. First of all, it saves time, it saves money, it's a kind of economical budget. You need to spend only a few bucks or a few hundreds of USD for the proofreader and editors. That's all. Okay. If you want to compare it with human translation, of course, in terms of accuracy, it is much accurate. It's much accurate comparing to MTPE. Number two, the language accuracy, as we mentioned, it's more accurate. But the other thing, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time from you as agency, and it takes a lot of time for the editor and translators at the first place. So let's now go to the second scenario. Now I have 500,000 words. I need to translate them. I have got a client. He's from so and so country. He sent me this project 500,000 word. I'm the agency now. I need to translate this 500,000 word by human translation, not by MTPE. So what shall I do now? I ask, or I make advertisement, recruit a few teams, a few translators, editor, proofreaders online. I write a message like this, create email, send the link for them, then I recruit few, like a few hundred translators, editor, proofreaders, whatever I can recruit. Okay, then I can start my mission of distributing the 500,000 word to those translators or editors. Of course, I need to test them first. I need to make sure they are genuine translators and editors. They have the degree or they have the skills, and they have done a lot of projects before, so I can depend on them. I give them, I can distribute, for example, the 500,000 words for them. Like each translator, I can give him around 10,000 words to translate in 1 week, or sometime in 3 days. 10,000, yeah, 10,000 for each translator to translate. So maybe around 5 to 10 translators in a week, they can finish the translation, or sometime I may extend the time for another 2 weeks. So that means The human translator, they need at least 2 to 3 weeks to translate 500,000 words, 500,000 words. Okay. After they do the translation, I need to send the translation to another team of reviewers or editors to make sure the translation is accurate. I know it's accurate, it's translated by a human, but in case if there's any mistake, any typo, any wrongly misused word or improper word, so I need to make sure everything is perfect. So I need to go for another QC, quality assurance, or quality control. So I need to go for another QC. So this another QC, it needs minimum another 1 week. So that means now we end up with almost 1 month translating, editing, proofreading by a human. After 1 month, I need to send the document to the client back. The translated document, I need to send them back to the client. Okay. The issue now it's very clear. Comparing the human translation with MTPE. MTPE, you can finish the whole process in 1 week. Human translation, you need at least 1 month. And comparing to the budget or to the price, human translation will cost a lot, sometimes triple fold or threefold comparing to MTPE. MTPE, let's say if it costs for editors, proofreaders, 2,000 USD for the whole team, 2,000, because proofreaders and editors no need to translate. I translate myself by the machine. Editors and proofreaders, let's say they need around 2,000 USD for 1 week. Okay, it's quite fine. Because for this project, I'm getting around 15 or 20K, 20,000 USD for this project. As an agency, I'm getting a 20,000 USD to translate 500,000 words. Okay, I'm giving the translators, I'm giving the editors a proofreader 2K, 2,000 USD. Okay, that's fair. That's fair enough for my side. But if I need human translators, of course, the rate will be much higher compared to the machine translation. So the human translator, the rate will be much higher. And after you pay for the human translator, you need also to pay for editors and the proofreaders. So it will cost you maybe around like maybe 5 to 7 USD, 7,000, sometime more, could be more or could be less. Depends on the professionalism of the translators and the proofreaders. If they are very professional seniors or they are just junior translator editors. So it depends. So it will cost you almost like 50-50. So you will gain as agency, you will gain 50%. The translators, editors, teams will gain another 50%. It's almost 50-50. But if you recruit, if you do MTPE and recruit editors, proofreaders, you can gain around 75% and give the editor proofreaders 25%, and sometimes less than 25 even. So it's a kind of unfair situation for the translators and editors. Because as a company, when the company or when the agency want to recruit, of course they don't want to recruit human translators because the rate is quite high comparing to editing and proofreading. So for them, they want to save as much money as they can. Instead of paying the translators, for example, 20,000, 20 USD, 20 USD per page, 20 USD per page, I can pay for the editors 5 USD per page. Instead of 20, I can pay only 5 for editing. And I can do the translation myself by the website, by machine. Sometime, the tricky part is that most of the translated works or the translated files, it takes really a lot of work for the editors because not every kind of text can be translated by machine. There are a lot of text that it's really very difficult to translate it by machine, because once you translate by machine, everything will collapse, everything will be wrong, everything, like the whole meaning will change. The text, when you read it, it's meaningless. It doesn't have any meaning. Yes, grammatically right, but it's meaningless. Everything is wrong. Most of the word doesn't have the exact meaning which which existed in the source text. This is the issue with the machine translation. However, some greedy agencies, they insist on machine translation because they want to save a lot of money. They want to save a lot of money. They don't care about the time. It's more or less, it's not that important for them, but the important is the money, the financial part. They're looking about the money. If I need a human translator, I need to spend almost half of my budget. However, if I recruit a digital provider, I can spend around 20 to 25%, which is, I can save a lot. Even though the translation by machine will be totally wrong and will be catastrophic, it's okay. Let the editor, let the proofreader do their job. So you are as editor or as a proofreader, when you start working on such a project, you will suffer a lot, because at the end you will find yourself, actually you are not editing, you are translating from scratch, because the whole file is wrong, everything is wrong. You are not editing, you are translating from scratch, which will cost you a lot of time, a lot of effort to do in order to finish and to meet the deadline you agreed with the agency. Otherwise, the agency will not pay you because you didn't meet the deadline. So you need to work day and night in order to meet the deadline. You need to spend a lot of time, a lot of effort to meet the deadline and to provide perfect translation for them. Otherwise, he will not gonna pay you, because from the beginning you put yourself in trouble when you accept such work without looking to the file itself. Before you accept before you accept any MTP file, you have to see the file first. You have to see, to look to the file, try to take a review, quick review on the file, see if it needs a lot of editing proofreading or just simple editing proofreading. If it needs a lot, just reject it. Just reject it without thinking, without even spending 1 minute thinking about it. Just reject it, because you will suffer a lot. You will stop sleeping for days and nights because you need to finish. Otherwise, at the end, he's not going to pay you anything. He will say, okay, you make me lose because you didn't meet the deadline and you didn't submit. So the owner or the client, he refused to take the job he refused to take the translation from me because you send it to me very late, and I'm sorry, I can't pay you because you didn't meet the deadline. At the end, you will be the losing part. So from the beginning, don't put yourself in such situation. Before you accept anything, before you give him the promise that you are committed to it, you have the full right to see the text. Then you can decide whether you want to go with it or not. Clear? This is the total story or the total scenario behind human translation and MTPE translation. Okay, one more point. Nowadays, because of economic situation and economic crisis that the whole world are suffering due to COVID-19 pandemic, most of the translation agencies around the world start shifting to MTPE. Unfortunately, even we have thousands of translators, interpreters, but the agencies want to recruit them. They don't want to recruit them. Why? Why? For the same reasons we just mentioned, because they don't want to pay for them that quite high or sometimes quite reasonable rate, but they are comparing it with MTPE as much better for them. So they translate by machine and they ask you, or they start recruiting you to do editing and proofreading. And this kind of issue start increasing since 2019. Most of the agencies start doing so. For me personally, if you are new to this field, if you are a junior translator, you can go with this. But before, you have to think twice and you have the full right to see the file before you accept the task. You have the full right to ask the client or to ask the agency. You want to see the file first before you accept the task. So you can save your right and you can save uh, your duty later on. This is the whole story about MTPE and human translation. I hope you will get a lesson from this and you learned something. Okay, any questions so far about MTPE human translation?
Yes, doctor, if the person doesn't want to give us the document, to see the document beforehand, we have the right to reject his offer, right?
Yes, exactly. You have the full right to reject. You can say, sorry, I cannot continue because I want to see the file first. If you cannot show me the file, sorry, I cannot accept it. Because
Okay.
you have the full right later on. You may say, okay, I will go with it, but later on, when you see the file is totally catastrophic. It's very bad, very poor translation. Actually, you are not going to do editing. You are going to do retranslation from scratch. And not going to pay you for translation. He's going to pay you for editing, but you are going to translate. It's a kind of trick. It's a tricky business. So you have to pay attention to this. Officially, he recruit you as editor, but under the table, you are going to do translation, not editing.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Another question so far? Here we have. Okay, let me share with you. This is the email he sent to me. This is the file. After I click on the link, just now, after I click on this link, so it moves me here. This is the link. Okay. Hi. This is human translation, MTPE, Arabic to English, so and so. We are looking for a linguist. Okay, blah blah blah. Okay, here is a quick brief of language Arabic. Okay, general rate to be discovered. Okay, 50,000 word. Okay, volume 50,000. Start date earlier, and so okay. Source language, target language, English Arabic or Arabic English. Details. You need to put full name, email, number, WhatsApp number because they need to WhatsApp you. Skype. They may need to test you later on. They need to do test or whatever. Then participant. You want to participate as freelance, individual, or agency. If you are an agency, that means you must accept high volume of files to translate later on. So agency, please mention number of sources you can support us with. For example, if you are an agency, that means maybe you can finish the 50,000 word in one day because you have a team of translators. You can share to your own translator, you have to your own team later on. But if you are an individual, of course, you won't be able to finish 50,000 word in one day or even sometime in 1 week. You may need more than that. Okay, service, whatever the service you want to apply for, you want to apply for MTPE or you want to apply for human translation, HT. Your proficiency in English, native, near native, Arabic, native, near native. Your expected rate as per word in US for human translation. You need to pay attention to for human translation. How much is your rate? Let's say 0.5 0.5. But for human translation is a bit higher than that. For me personally, I can go for 0.7 or 0.8. 0.7 to 0.8 for human translation. But most important, you need to be in it. You need to pay attention to that. This is 50,000 word, so it's not 1 page or 2 page. If 1 page or 2 page, the rate will be much higher than that. But if more than 10,000 word, that means it's a big volume of translation. Yes, you have to go a bit lower than your normal price. You can accept like 0.8, from 0.5 to 0.8. I think it's reasonable. Okay, your expected rate per word for MTPE, well, machine translation post editing. Let's say if a human 0.8, here I can go 0.5 or 0.4, still reasonable. Okay, your word capacity per day. How many words you can finish per day for human translation? For that means you need to translate it from scratch. How many words you can finish per day? For example, I can finish around 5,000 per day. 5,000. Okay. But they are not mentioned here. Okay. So this one 5,000. That means for both, for this and this one, you can finish 5. Actually, for human, I can finish around 5K, but for MTPE, maybe around 10K, because it doesn't require translation. The file is already translated. I just need to do editing proofreading, which is much faster. I can finish much faster. Okay, nationality. Okay, residing country. PayPal account, because later on they want to pay to you through PayPal. So you have to create your PayPal account. If you don't have, you have to create and send them. Because every company, every agency in the world nowadays, they started recruiting people, and the first pay or the method of payment, they need PayPal account. You can create Pioneer and many other platforms, but PayPal is the most famous. Okay, can we contact you with requests on weekend? For example, can you work for us on weekend if we want you to work on weekend or holidays? Can or not? Okay, if scan, okay. Then upload your CV. Here, download NDA, which is kind of like a contract. You need to download a contract. You need to go here, copy this one, put it on the browser, and download the NDA, fill it, sign it, and upload it here. Then submit, and you will go to the next page. Next page, I think it's just only submission. Yeah, here, because we didn't fill it. Next page is only submission. Yeah, that's all for today. Any questions so far?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah.
Would it be okay if we're trying to see